What is up, everybody? Keith, aka Gator Guy 231 on DraftKings and FanDuel, here for another week of college football picks. Has been an awesome start to the season. I think we only really had one dud week where Chuba Hubbard let us down, and I had way too many Georgia Tech guys outlined. But I have been getting a lot of feedback from you guys that we want more picks, so I do have some more planned for today. I really hope that you help. I do actually want to say this as well. Thank you all so much for all the positive feedback and all the views. When I launched the college football picks, I had no idea what to expect. If this is going to get 2 views, 5 views, and to see 300-400 has been awesome. So if you are enjoying it, please, 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 the best way to thank us for this, bottom right, hit that subscribe button. This helps us so much for the goals of what we're trying to do at FSI. So please hit that bottom right subscribe button. Without further ado, let's jump into some picks. Going to kind of just go over, I didn't want to just say the names. That was another thing people said, like, I don't know the teams, I don't know the positions, or they forgot. So hopefully having my drafting screen up here will help you guys. So let's start at the quarterback position. Actually, before I even do that, let me just say this. So with so many games in college, like that's something that, even when I've played, that's one of the easiest things to struggle on is like, all right, how do I, parcel through 12, 13, 14 games? Honestly, like spreads are your friend, totals are your friend. So look at the top spreads, and immediately you're going to see that Memphis SMU shoots out. It's the cover of this video because it truly is a shootout. It has a 75 total and it's actually trending upward. So many good plays. Both teams are very, very involved in the pass attack. So that's where we're going to immediately want to go to for a lot of our exposures. The next 2 highest, just to give perspective, we have Kansas State versus Texas Tech 64, and then Texas and TCU 62.5. So over 10 points less in those games. So again, we want to target the shootout. We want multiple pieces from there, especially the passing game. So with that in mind, Sam Buechele is one of the top quarterbacks in the slate. I think his price is a little tough, just being realistic at 9,200. I think, I'm going to go over in a second, but I think Sam Ehlinger is going to be the popular play because he combines rushing upside. Then you need to decide at that point, am I going to spend 9,200 for Shane, who gives me huge passing upside, right? Like, just look at your yards. You had 344 versus North Texas, 367 versus Texas State. Toss out the Stephen F. Austin game where they didn't need any of their starters. Like, that's going to be a commonality when you're looking at your SMU pieces. Just don't count that game in. But again, so over about 350 yards a game in the games that matter the most. 9,200 is fine. I don't know it's a lot. Sam Ehlinger showed up on the injury report with a slight injury to his non-throwing hand. Don't think that that's going to be an issue at all. Look, here's the thing we love with Sam Ehlinger is the rushing upside that he provides. Versus UTEP, he didn't have to do so. No reason for him to be taking anybody head on. Rushing, as soon as the game got close for Texas Tech, we saw him rush 16 times for 69 yards. I'd expect, somewhere in the 10-15 range versus TCU. Also combining, 35, 40 passing attempts. So I think he is the top optimal / cash play. From there, I love my guy, Kyle Trask, but I do think that you're better served to, there's going to be some regression on Kyle Trask's passing touchdowns. He does, every once in a while, the Gators like to run a lot of read option at the goal line. So he does give you some rushing equity, but I think I'd much rather go to Brady White in our shootout game. Was awesome week 1. It's been a while since we've seen Memphis on the slate. So I think Brady White, though, still gives you a little more rushing upside than Buechele and a $1,000 discount. So personally, I prefer White to Buechele, but look, if you have the salary, I can't fault you for either. Other guy I want to mention in the range. So I think Ritter from Cincy is fine. I just worry that the game shoots out. That game blows out, not shoots out. USF just is bad. But Ritter does give you rushing upside. The guy that I got to watch last week in my Gator game was Matt Corral. Thought he was absolutely phenomenal. Gators are supposed to have a good defense, and he did not make the Gators defense look very good at all. 22 of 31 for 395, 3 touchdowns. The other thing was he was running the ball when he got under pressure. So 13 rushes, 50 yards. So again, at 6,900, I think that's a really, really nice discount off those top guys. Gives you some rushing upside, and I don't think it'll be high owned. The other play I want to mention is Skylar Thompson. Definitely another runner. You wouldn't notice it from the Oklahoma game where he only had 9 attempts for 10 yards, but 3 of those were touchdowns. Not the best passer. Like, that's the biggest issue with Skylar Thompson, but he does play Texas Tech, so that game could shoot out. At 6,500 for a rushing quarterback upside, I really like it. Again, more so probably GPP. But I think it's really nice. Now, really interesting aspect of the slate is that running back isn't that great. You can easily go Harris. You can go Chubbard. You can go Dokes. I think they're all fine. Like, even McDaniel, they're fine. I just think that this is a slate that I'm wanting to maybe use my salary on wide receivers and quarterbacks, and I don't necessarily know that Harris or Dokes or Hubbard fit those bills. I will say this: Kansas is pretty bad, and Hubbard start the season awful. A really good chance that his ownership could just like plummet on this slate, especially with Najee Harris right there at 9,000. So if you are entering multiple lineups, I think that a low-owned Chuba Hubbard, who routinely went for 40, 50 DK last year, is a really interesting tournament flyer. I'll definitely have him in one tournament team, especially considering going to his teammate has a chance to be very, very popular in cash. So I'm just going to skip this whole top range because where I'm finding my builds is going down here. I do want to mention my guy, Condavious Toney, my brother-in-law, and I call him the ankle breaker. He's one of those guys in college that has to throw on 13 juke moves before going forward. It's fun to watch. It's frustrating sometimes, but he's the true, like, I don't want to go as far as say he's like Percy Harvin, because Percy Harvin was a one-in-a-lifetime type of player in college. But Toney does a lot of similar things, is electric. They'll give him like jet sweeps. They'll even put him in the backfield. He's playing a lot of slot wide receiver right now. So he has a way of like really getting you a lot of points. He is still going to be, in my opinion, touchdown dependent. I don't think he's going to get much more than like 4 or 5 catches in any game. But you are getting a slot receiver out of running back slot, so gives you more upside. I want to talk about first Bentley from SMU. So little known fact, or maybe at this point, pretty known fact, leads the NCAA in touchdowns. Again, I want to toss out Stephen F. Austin, so I'm not worried about those 6 carries. In the 2 games that mattered, 19, 11 carries, 227 yards versus North Texas is big. But the biggest thing is he's getting a lot of the goal line work, looking for a lot of touchdowns. So at 5,900 in our shootout, I really like going that $1,600 discount off of McDaniel, who's splitting carries with. From there, I'm going down. And again, I'm not huge on running back this week. There's a really good chance I only play 2. Like, I know in NFL, we want to just hog the touches, but in college, I think wide receivers, in my opinion, are more valuable than running backs. When there is a shortage of really good spots for running backs versus just all the wide receivers, especially in this like mid to low range I'm going to go over here shortly. But I do think Davis is really interesting. Vincent Davis is really interesting for Pittsburgh, where they priced him at 14, 17, 11 touches through the first 3 for sub 5K. Is really solid. I believe the other one running back is still on the injury report, so Davis should get a majority of the carries. The chalk play is going to be LD Brown from Oklahoma State. So Kansas is pretty bad. They got gashed in the run game the last 2 games. So LD Brown has a really good chance to get still a good amount of carries with Chuba Hubbard. And then if the game blows out, he's going to get some garbage time work. But 11 for 103 and 9 for 63 in the first 2 games versus West Virginia and Tulsa, both of those in close games. So if Oklahoma State does run ahead of it, I do think that LD Brown has a chance to give you, 13 to 15 carries. And at that point could really, really, blow up a score. Finally, just like a local knowledge play, I think Malik Davis, I mentioned him last week, is still a really interesting play. He's splitting carries with Pierce. They got him a lot more involved in the passing game than they did Pierce, who dropped I know of one just a wide open little angle route that he just flat out drops and should have gone for 20. Malik Davis was the talk of camp a few years ago when he first came onto campus. Was phenomenal as a freshman, has injuries the last 2 seasons. So really is looking to emerge this year at 3,900. I really think it's a good YOLO dart. I think like last week I had him in a few Gator stacks and he was like, I don't know, like 2 or 3% owned. So I doubt he's going to be that owned outside of maybe people watching this video. So it's a good play. At the wide receiver position, I'm going to start most of my lineups with DeMonte Coxey, one of the better players to continuously draft last season. Coxey now finds himself in a shootout. I could easily see him going for like a 10 for 150 line and being one of the big plays on the slate. So I love Coxey. Also love Robertson Jr. from SMU. SMU spreads the ball around a little bit more than Memphis, so that's why I think if I'm spinning up, it's going to be for Coxey, but I have no issues with Robertson, who's hugely talented. The next tons of guys are all in play, but I do not have 35 minutes to go down every one. I do think I might want to, in my opinion, I'm probably fading Pitts at the elevated price tag and off of the huge game. Just one of those things, the Gators can spread the ball around a ton. So what did he get? Was it 4 or 5 touchdowns? 4 touchdowns last week. It's like very unlikely to happen again. You very well could end up seeing like 5 for 16, 1 touchdowns. That's still a great game for him, but he's not really paying off that $7,300 tag. I really like kind of dropping down here at wide receiver. I think there's a ton of good options here. One of the guys I wanted to highlight is Josh Ali. The reason I want to do so is he had a great game versus Auburn, which should have been a tough matchup, 9 for 98. Mississippi was letting Gator wide receivers run open all over the place. So for 5,600 in a sneaky offensive game, because Mississippi plays fast, runs a lot of plays, throws the ball a ton. So if this game stays close, I think you could see aerial attacks going to Josh Ali. I think more so GPP than cash, but 5,600 I think is a really nice play. There's 2 guys in the 5K range that to me are just misprices that I'm going to be hammering. Keyshawn Carter was in all of our quarters last week. I have no idea why he was only like 23% owned in the main GPP, but rewarded us for 7 for 77, 2 touchdowns. Actually, I just recalled he was also the wide receiver highlighted on this video, but 13 catches, start the season, 3 touchdowns. Look, he's like the starting slot receiver, but it's Texas Tech. They keep 3 receivers on the field at all times. So even though he's the 3rd receiver, he's on the field the whole time. Looked awesome. I don't understand why it's 5,000. So I think that's a phenomenal play. Also, in our shootout game, Sean Dykes had 10 catches for 137 and 2 touchdowns week 1. He's 5K. Just, I'll take it. Like, I don't need to overthink this. I think he's a phenomenal play. Pairing up Brady White or running him just on his own. Like, again, I want players from this game, so I love that they gave me exposure this way. Also just wanted to bring up, and I can like highlight him, but Hunter Long, starting tight end for BC, is their number 1 target at 5K versus a UNC team that can really put up points. I think that makes a lot of sense. I just like those other 5K guys better. The other one I want to just bring up after watching the game was Kenny Yeboah from Ole Miss, 4,000, 5 catches, 91 yards for the grad transfer. Looked really good. Moore was like the top guy of the whole game, but Yeboah did show up. Again, this is 4,000, and we get a starting wide receiver that's coming up for 91 yards and a touchdown. I don't think there's any problems with it. So, guys, thank you guys once again for watching. Really do hope this helps and that you enjoyed the picks. Please drop me comments in the section if you enjoyed the additional picks, or if there's anything else you would see that can kind of be confined in like a 10-minute window. That would be awesome. And once again, if you haven't done already, bottom right, hit that subscribe button so that you get all the notifications of all the awesome stuff we're doing at FSI. It really does help. Final plug, if you are interested in getting course for every college football slate, Showdowns, FanDuel, DraftKings, link is in the bottom. Join up into our Discord for the fun. Thank you all once again for watching, and have a great Saturday of football. See you.